We definitely are putting fuel in. Is it making it into the cylinders though? I'm at a loss. Welcome back to Freeman's Garage. It is video 4 of a series where we are putting a swap meet engine into our 1967 Chevy C10 Barn Find Stepside long bed. Very quick recap. In video 1, we pulled the original engine out of our truck because it had a cracked block. Video 2, we put an engine that we bought at a swap meet into the truck to replace our original engine, and we did get it to run. Video 3, we took the swap meet engine back out of our C10 because we realized that we forgot to install a very critical component. And at the end of that third video, we were left with an uninstalled swap meet engine sitting on the garage floor because the input shaft of the transmission would not fit inside of the pilot bushing. We need to make a little bit of clearance. And that leads us to here, the third installment of this series. We've got a piece of 220 grit sandpaper and a piece of 60, and we are going to just clean up the inside of that pilot bushing just a little tiny bit. Not NASA approved, but this rig is not leaving the ground, and we're just gonna clean it up just the tiniest little bit. We're not gonna gouge a whole bunch of metal out of there. You know, we're not gonna make the bushing go from that inside diameter to that. You know, we're doing just probably, well, maybe just as thick as the sandpaper is. The goal is not just to get the input shaft to slide inside of the pilot bushing. We also want the input shaft to be able to spin freely inside that pilot bushing. The pilot bushing is just to keep the input shaft of the transmission from doing this and destroying your transmission, but we want the two to be able to spin freely. We don't want them to be locked together. We're just looking for a firm, confident feel when we slide the two together. All right, let's get started on this. It's already really late in the day, so let's make this our goal. Before the sun sets, we might have about 3 hours to do this. Let's have the bushing cleaned up, the clutch bolted back on, the engine back in the truck all buttoned up, and we'll have it fired up, idling, running good. We'll tune it real quick with a vacuum gauge if we need to. We're not putting the hood on. We're just going to get that done. Well, we'll put the radiator in water, but that's easy. And then we'll get it out of Freeman's garage and take it out on a back road somewhere, and we'll go tool around and see how she does. And then we can call the swap meet engine swap complete. And then we get to enjoy our 67 C10. Oh, and it's 100 and something degrees today. Oh yeah, that's right. I wasn't going to talk about the weather anymore, was I? Right? That's what I said in the last video. Alright, we gotta work fast here. It's almost 6 o'clock, so yeah, I don't know, I'd say we got 3 hours or something, but even if it is dark outside when we're finished, we're still gonna go drive the truck. Just trying to get it done before sunset is just a little goal to put a little extra fire under our keister here. I've been jonesing to drive this truck again. Okay, so I just wrapping some sandpaper around the bolt. Stick it in here. Well, before I start sanding, I can feel the little ridge that was created inside the bushing by the input shaft of the transmission when we were trying to ramrod things together. This is the 60 grit. And the reason why I have it wrapped around the bolt is so that we can sand the inside of the bushing evenly. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be all lopsided. Feels like it did something. I'm gonna sand a little bit more with this. We don't want to do very much, just the tiniest little bit. I've spent a few minutes on it. Now let's do the 220. Let's put it in like that. Alright, I'm gonna work on this for a few minutes and check in with you very soon. Oh wow. Yeah, that feels good. I'm just gonna smooth it up a little bit more. Feels a lot better in there. It's nice and smooth, but we'll get a little bit more. You want it to be smooth as baby's new butt. Oh yeah, daddy like. Ow, that really hurt. Woo, stings, got in the cut. So I'd say I spent about a total of, I keep getting this brake cleaner I'm spraying in here in my cut. I would say that took about 10 minutes I probably spent on that. I'm just trying to get all the sanding grime out of here. Oh yeah, I think that's gonna slide right on. Let's clean this entire flywheel off with some brake cleaner, wipe it down, we'll put a clutch back on. And the pressure plate is not light, it's a heavy unit, so it gets a little bit cumbersome, if you will. We've been through this before. Okay, there's one bolt. Get the second one in. Alright, now it's time to once again use our homemade clutch alignment tool. I'm not just using the homemade alignment tool setup to align the clutch disc between the pressure plate and the flywheel. I'm also looking at our machined surface here. See, there's our smooth machined surface. And there's our clutch disc. So I'm looking at that because I also want it to line up like that all the way around, as well as having this through the middle and centering everything. Alright, I am happy with this. I'm going to snug it up and then recheck it, and then we're lifting this engine up. Oh yeah, that's right. In the previous video of this engine swap, this made in China engine hoist, it's taking a dump on us, my friends. It started happening in the previous video. When you've got the engine lifted way up high, the jack doesn't want to hold it anymore. It starts bink, 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 which makes things difficult. But apparently down low, it's just fine. But alright, snug this up, and then we'll get the engine set in. Hopefully things slide together, and then we fire this thing up, man. And we finally go enjoy this on a little test drive. Swap meet engine, is it going to make it 5 miles? I'm just bringing the engine down to touch the ground so that it doesn't move so much. Then tightening down these clutch bolts. There we go. Alright. Alright. Let's pick the engine up and put it in. It's going to slide right in. Guarantee. Oh, I guess I should check just one extra time to make sure that things are lined up properly. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's laser beam straight. That is George straight. That is Dire Straits. Actually, you know, Dire Straits would actually be might be a better channel name than Freeman's Garage. It's taken though. I'm gonna give the input a little bit of a wipe down. We don't want it to be dry, so I'll put a little drop of clean oil on it. But we just want it to be clean, and then I'll push the truck out so that we can get the engine and the hoist over here, and we'll drop it in. I think I can get a drop of clean oil out of this container. Alright. Alright, I am in the cavity. Now, I'll wipe this off first. That's taken care of. Oh. Yep, caught in the frame rail. That's good. Glad I don't have to search for that. It's gotta be, oh geez. You know, that's a lot of oil gets left in these jugs. You know, it's a good idea to make sure you get all the oil out when you do your oil changes. I used to be a real stickler on that, making sure I was getting every single drop out of a bottle of oil. If nothing else, you could use the drops left over to, you know, over by your drill press or something to lubricate your bits when you're drilling. Thanks to everyone that's been following this engine swap series and hitting thumbs up on all the videos and hitting the arrow button to share with friends and family. It really does help all the computer stuff that, besides whatever all the computer stuff is, you know, behind the scenes at YouTube that decides whether or not to share videos with more people or not. It helps. The engine hoist, it's dropping fairly quickly, and I want to give ourselves the best chance of our wheels rolling where we want them to, as this thing is. This might be its last job, so this needs to work out. Just like curling. Scrub! Scrub! Oh! I don't know. I don't know. Is that what they say? I think I curled one time in 7th grade. Curling club. On wheels. Like a glove. Alright. This is the time where you start asking yourself, am I forgetting anything? What are we caught? Are we caught on wires and you didn't say anything? Oh my. You know, I thought, you know how hard it is to find good help these days. I thought you were, you know, when I hired you, I thought that you would make a good hand. Apparently, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Maybe it's, no, I'm not supposed to talk about the heat. It sounds like a complaint. So let's go in, let's go backwards. I'm kind of not liking the position of the chain, but we will see how this goes. You know, this hoist. No, I'm not complaining about the hoist. I've complained enough about it. Let's just get this job done. At least there is a hoist at Freeman's garage. Okay, hold on. We need to go up a little bit. I didn't think we were that low. Must be the hoist dropping on us, huh? Okay, now let's try to go back a little bit more. Okay, yeah, we gotta go up. We gotta go up. Just a smidgen. Okay. Okay. Yeah, hold on. We need to go up a little bit more again. I know it might not look like it, but from here it does. We need to go down just a little bit. Oh, well, the hoist is going down by itself, I guess. Kind of quickly, too. Well, yeah. Okay, well, I'll just let it fall. While we try to push it into position. Well, you know what? It's kind of hard to... The hoist has a mind of its own, but that's okay because we need to reposition the chain anyhow. We're going to move the hook a little bit forward on the chain so we can get a little more angle on there. Okay. Now we'll reposition the hoist. Oh, what are we? Stuck. I just got everything in. I've got the splines aligned, and the input shaft of the transmission is inside the pilot bushing in the back of the crankshaft. It's been about an hour just fighting with this up, down, up, down, up, down, because every time I get the transmission and the engine where I would want it, the jack would just keep dropping, just tick, 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 tick. So if I tried to go underneath and rotate the input shaft of the transmission, or move the transmission up and down, or move the engine around, the position of the engine would not stay. It just kept dropping. And I am very, very relieved that everything finally all slid together. Oh, man. I'm just holding the engine right now while the engine hoist is letting itself down automatically. Just making sure that things don't come apart. What a train wreck. Unbelievable! I've said it before and I'll say it again, kids. Get an education. Alright, now let's get our engine mount bolts in. Here's the one for this side over here. Let's get our engine mount bolts in. It's a 5/8. We'll do that. One on each side, and we are seat belted in. After that, we'll do the bell housing bolts to officially secure the engine and the transmission together. Then just bolt the starter on, fuel line, radiator, put some water in it. Fire the thing up. Make sure the Carter YF 1-barrel carburetor is gonna sit here and keep this engine idling. Just make sure it's all good. And then we are out the door. Best case scenario, our holes are lined up right now. Please be lined up. Ooh, you're not, you little devil. Alright, I just lifted the engine up just a teeny bit so we can get some wiggle room here. That's why I left the chain on. Not a 5/8. It is a 5/8. Why won't it go in the bolt? Come on. Come on, son. Come on. Get on the boat. Oh, wrong angle. God. Man, that hurts. It hurts. Everything hurts. It's impossible for that to get any tighter. Let's get the fuel line on. We are in the race against time. Fuel line is on. Motor mounts are bolted in. Let's get this engine hoist out of the way. We'll get the chain off. We'll get tools out of the way we don't need. We're in a race against the sun. I doubt we're gonna beat it, but we're gonna try. It's an all-out thrash at this point. These are the last 3 bell housing bolts, and then there's +2 for the starter I gotta go underneath to do. But we're almost there. It's almost time to pull the radiator out of the cab, which it's been in there way too long. Ooh, we better get the battery on the charger right now too. Because, you know, if we don't, you know what's gonna happen. Starter, please don't fall on my face. That's all I ask. Because when I cut your zip tie, you are going to be footloose and fancy free. And, well, let's just see what happens. Okay, the tie that zips is cut. Oh, pesky zip tie. No! Oh man. Zip tie not coming out. What's gonna cause us? Okay, there we go. Alright, it's out. Now, we put it up in place. There we go. Oh, perfect time to get a cramp. Right in my side. It's either I keep holding the starter up, possibly permanently injuring myself, or I let the starter fall on my face, but the cramp goes away. And I forgot the other 2 bolts for the starter. Gosh darn it! I gotta crawl up and come back under. Back with the 2 bolts that hold the starter on. It's a total of 3. 1 comes from the back and 2 come in from front to back. Is it weird that I just randomly started thinking about opening up a diner and calling it the Greasy Spoon? Is that weird? I mean, why am I thinking about that right now? So the little rod down there that goes like that, right at my fingertip, I put that in place on the clutch fork while I was underneath. Now we need to get this end of this is also for a clutch. We need to get that end, that greasy end, into the end of that. And through here we put 2 bolts, which are going to bolt it to there and there on our engine block. And we're going to rob those bolts from our old engine. And then after that, we'll get the fan on. Oh no. Tell you what that was in a second. We'll get the fan on, we'll put the radiator in, and we're very close to firing it up and going for a drive. Everything will work perfect. Trust me, no issues. That was the flange falling off of the exhaust. I had propped the flange up at the top of the exhaust pipe while I was under there so that we wouldn't have to go under there again. We could just reach in from up top here and grab it and start bolting it on, because that could be a Hercules heel there too, because one issue that we fought with our old engine with the exhaust manifold was the bolt setup for the exhaust. It was just all hacked together, and we fought exhaust leaks forever and never solved it. So hopefully our exhaust down there, when we bolt it up to the flange on this manifold, it has the more proper looking studs there and nuts too. Hopefully that works better and it doesn't leak. And if it does leak, I guess maybe we'll just have to go demolition derby style with the exhaust for this test drive, which will be in the dark because it's basically dark now. So here's the bolts I said we were going to take off of this. And now let's go install it. Now this should be as easy as apple pie. It goes in this direction. And it goes like that. And then now we bolt it in place. I just dropped one of the bolts on the floor. Looks like we got to go down there anyways, so I will shimmy the exhaust flange back up while I'm down there. In fact, you know what? If I had my magnet on a stick on me right now, what happened to it? I need to get, you know what? I'm going to put a link in the description for telescoping magnets, magnet on a stick, because I'm going to get, so you can get them if you want, but I'm going to get a whole bunch of them and I'm going to put them all around Freeman's garage, because this is a huge time waster. And voila. All done. I think we can take this off, our NASA approved carburetor cover, because we are danger close. Now, let's see if our exhaust is going to bolt right up to this or not. And one thing that's cool about old Chevrolets like this, GM products, is those 2 bolts that we put in there. I didn't even check that to see if the ones from the old engine would bolt in to this one. I didn't even look at that because I knew that it would. You know, you just know some things. And so much is interchangeable. Alright, well, let's see here. Alright, I'm gonna need 2 hands. Alrighty. I got 2 hands. Ow, that hurt. Alright, here we go. The moment of truth on the exhaust. Looking pretty good so far. Ooh! Ah! Daddy likes so far. Oh, hold on here. Oh! Might need a helping hand. I might need a hamburger helper. Okay, ow. How am I gonna do this? Alright, let's see here. As long as I don't drop the nuts. could get on here in a timely manner. Alright. Ah! Alright, try it. Oh my gosh. Sometimes you gotta use a master cylinder for a pillow. Ooh, we got a nut started, by golly. I think so anyways. Yeah, speaking of pillars, you know those tall vertical things, you know, that usually hold up porches or whatnot? Are those columns or pillars? Some say pillars are something you sleep on and that they would be columns. But some would say that columns and pillar is interchangeable. Well, our exhaust is bolting together, that's for sure. But whether or not it's gonna leak, well, I guess we'll find out shortly here. I'm gonna degrease my hands and arms out of the spigot for a little refresherino. And then we will get the radiator out of the cab. We'll drop it in, hook up the radiator hoses and the heater hoses, and we will run power to the HEI distributor, which is very quick, easy, simple. And, oh, we'll put water in the radiator. Just water for now, we'll put coolant in it later. I don't have the coolant on hand. And I think that's pretty much it. Battery's been charging for a bit. Oh, yeah, the period correct Delco Remy alternator that came on our swap meet engine. We need a different wiring setup to hook our wiring into that. So we'll swap that out with the alternator on our old engine, because that's all set up for our wiring and everything. We'll do that real quick, that's easy. Okay, there is oil in it, because we put new oil in the filter in it in video number 1. Little bit gotta hook up the throttle linkage, hopefully that goes smooth. We're gonna be doing a little bit of night cruising. So, yeah, that's probably the worst time to test drive something, but hey, we're outlaws. We're renegades. Alright? I don't have the long hair currently, but we're still outlaws, man. I'm all cleaned up. We don't want to get in this rig completely disgusting, because it's pretty nice in there. We don't want to ruin it. It just hit me. Let's swap the radiator, or alternator. Let's swap the alternator, and then put the fan on, and then we'll put the radiator in. Because if we do that in any other order, we're just gonna be causing all kinds of. It's just gonna be way easier if we do this, and then fan, and then radiator. If we want that older Delco Remy alternator on instead of this newer remanufactured one here that probably came from a faraway land, we can do that in the future. And we can also pull that HEI. If you don't know, the HEI was in that engine when we got it from the swap meet, and we could pull that out and we could put our original points distributor in there and run the points ignition system. We can do all that. You know, put your thoughts in the comments on what you want to see. I'll do either. I prefer points and the older distributor body, but it's, you know, it's whatever you want too. Just let me know, and we can swap stuff back and forth in videos later. It doesn't matter. It's not serious. We're just hanging out, having fun, right? Wrenching, and hopefully driving here in a second, but nothing serious going on here. We're just having fun. That's probably going to start on fire eventually. Probably get that out of there. Where'd the nut go? Oh, we're so close to firing this engine up. Where in the world did that go? You know, if it's not one thing, it's another. Oh, there it is. Nice. This is a big moment. This truck's been out of commission for so long. This is exciting. Oh, we gotta remember to put their number one spark plug back in. And let's just hope that the thermostat that's in here works and that there are no clogs in the cooling system in the water jackets or anything. Which we really should flush the block out with a garden hose, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to see what happens. Okay, there we go. Oh, come on. Seems like the hotter it is, the more... No, I can't say anything about the weather. Oh, come on, you little gremlin. You snapping on there, or... What's going on? I don't know if I would consider that a snap. Okay, well that's fine. Do we really need to secure this radiator down? I mean, is it really going to go anywhere? Hopefully there's not a ton of junk in the cooling jackets in this engine that it just clogs this good radiator. Or we'll have to be unclogging it at some point. But not tonight. Tonight, the goal is to have this truck running and driving out on the road under its own power. As soon as we achieve that goal here tonight, then Freeman here can get Freeman's garage cleaned up, tools reorganized, because it's a chaotic mess in here. Alright, there's just a couple things left. I've been waiting forever to rip this off. There we go. That's been on there the whole time this truck's been sitting, waiting for a new motor, and then getting a new motor, and then things not working out. Just trying to keep water off the blower motor, because the truck was outside for a while, and dag nabbit, I knew it. I knew, well, it was outside without a hood on. I knew this was a bad idea. We'll have to get that off with something. Okay, what did I want to show you? So, here's all our wiring for our points ignition, essentially. And there's no points distributor, so we don't need any of that. So I tied that up out of the way so it doesn't get melted on anything. And okay, so we need to run power to our distributor, which that'll be easy. We'll just do a red wire, the one that, just a jumper wire, the one that we made in video 1 of this series. And we are going to take this is throttle linkage back here. We're going to take this off, that bar right there that I'm pulling on, because there's this one here that's all set up for the right length for this carburetor. And so we'll just put that right into there, goes right in. Let's do that right quick and get everything the rest of the way prepped to fire it up, which will just be a minute here. And then I'll tell you a couple other things, like Columbo, Lieutenant Columbo, he's got a thing about tying up loose ends. Well, so do I. And I'll tell you what those loose ends are here in a second. And they're not going to get tied tonight. This is just test drive night, okay? Uh-oh. Oh, I thought I broke this, but there's a little clip that just came off. So we're good. So we got that end connected there. And then we are connected right here. And then here is our throttle return spring. We got to hook this up. I forgot all about our alternator wiring. This is really simple. This one I'm just going to snap into the back, and then it's just a red wire and then a black wire. That's really easy. Alright, there we go. Just one more thing left, I believe. And we're going to fire this engine up. So there's all our wiring for our points ignition system that we talked about earlier, and that we don't need now because this is an HEI unit. So there's more than one way to get power to this, which is what we need to do now. You can go straight from a hot spot on the fuse panel, or there's ways that you can wire in before and after the resistor and whatnot. You could get deep on it if you wanted. What we're going to do for right now is take our jumper wire that we made in the first video of the series, and we are going to take this end here. We're going to do just what we did in that first video. We're just going to snap it up in here where it says battery, not where it says tack, where it says battery. And after that is in there, then we'll take this end and we're just going to wedge it into our positive battery cable there. And then that'll give us power to the ignition. I might need to get a flashlight and a small inspection mirror, or a mirror of some sort, because it can be a little tricky to get this clipped up in here. Unless we just get lucky right away. And well, you know how this project's been going, so that's probably not going to happen. Although our luck feels like it has turned around some. When was the last time you just sat down and listened to an entire Herman's Hermits album? When was that? Alright, hooking up the battery. Now, I don't want to put this end of our jumper wire for our HEI ignition onto the battery yet. I don't want to start sending power to the HEI until we are 100% ready. Let's top this radiator off. We probably should let the engine run long enough here in the garage for hopefully the thermostat to open and the water level in the radiator to go down, and then we can top it off again and put the cap on. And was that just a voice crack? Now let's get all this stuff that's hanging around here that doesn't need to be here, that's gonna just vibrate off and get lost, let's get our hood bolts out of here. These will get lost. We don't want to lose those out on the road somewhere. And how come over on that side there's only one? There's supposed to be two. That means one fell down between the inner fender and the firewall, I suppose. I have to try to get that out. We don't want to lose that on the road. Let's get these tools out of here. We'll leave the hose in case there's a F-I-R-E. I don't want to say it out loud. This is magnetic. Both ends are magnetic. So hopefully that hood bolt is in here and we can reach it with this. Oh, here it is. Well, that's funny. I was searching way down in there and it was sitting right there. I wonder why I didn't see that when we took that grocery bag off. Oh, it's wedged in there. I have to get a screwdriver maybe? Ah, there it is. Got it. That's a relief. You know what's funny is if you're jumping power to the ignition in an older vehicle like this that doesn't require a key to unlock the column or anything like that, and you're using a remote starter switch, you don't even need a key. We could jump this power right here to the battery and then hook this remote starter switch up. We can start the engine and then we can get in the vehicle and drive away. But with that being said, we could hook up our power to our ignition, our HEI, and then we can get in the truck and start it with the key if we want. But I think this is funner. Let's do it this way. Alright, let's make sure we got power going through a starter switch. I think we're in neutral. Okay, so that's good. So now, let's pour some gas down the carburetor just for a little jump start because it's been sitting for a while. And then we'll plug this in here. And then we will start it up for reals. I'm going to have to move one vehicle to get the C10 out. That's no big deal. And before we head out for a drive, assuming this all works well, we'll see what time it is because I haven't looked for a very long time. It could be tomorrow. Who knows? Okay, well this is too full. If I would have tried to pour that like that, we would have had a mega disaster. So we'll do it the girly way, the girly man way. Okay, too much. Every time you do this, it's always too much. Alright, we are plugged in with power to our HEI. The choke is wide open, so no choke because we poured the gas down the carburetor. And we're not going to touch anything. Let's just see what it does. I don't like being rough on the starter. Almost smelled like electrical fire for a second there. Now, the hope is that the swap meet fuel pump that was on our swap meet engine when we got it will start pumping gas from the... Oh, is there gas in the tank? Nah, I'm just kidding. Gas tank behind the seat is full. The factory tank. Alright. Try this again. If anything goes, if we get a fucking bronc here, I'll just pull the power for the ignition. Maybe we're not actually plugged in. Oh, the battery's not doing too well either. Yeah, maybe we're not actually plugged in. We'll check with an inspection mirror. Oh yeah. No, we're plugged in. Yeah, I don't... Huh. Okay, so we're plugged in. Well, let's verify power. Okay. Test light works. Okay, we just verified that. Now, let's stick our jumper wire in there, like so. And we're getting power to the, can you see that? Yeah, we're getting power to the distributor. Now to me it didn't sound like it tried to fire off at all, did it? So what's the goings on is? Now sticking the wire just in like this, that should be enough for the thing to light off. But let's make a better connection, just so we can make sure that it's not the connection here at the battery. And of course, this is not, this is not a permanent setup. This is just for testing purposes. What if we cram that down in there and then tighten it up? That's much better. Let's see what happens. I really don't think that's what's going on here, but let's oh. Should probably hook that up. Yeah, I don't think that's what's going on here, but let's see what happens this time. Could be. Oh. I gotta quit using this junk battery. Alright. Okay, we are going to pull out our number one spark plug again. Well, actually this one's kind of a pain in the keister. Well, what the? Have I lost all my grip strength? when I do the, oh, I think I just, almost ripped that nail right off. Gee, and I'm breaking nails. Oh man, I need to sign up for a Chuck Norris strength and conditioning course ASAP. I'm turning into a real whammon around here. Oh yeah, wasn't I telling you what I was up to? Alright, so we are going to take this spark checker dealie, okay? So what we do is we put our spark plug in that end. Oh wait, no, I am so stupid. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have our spark plug in our plug wire, and then we're gonna let it sit right here on the cylinder head, and we're gonna see if it sparks. Actually, hold on, that's gonna be a bit of a pain actually. Here, let me throw this back in. It didn't quite want to sit where I want it to. And honestly, I've already missed Matlock. So, we're just going to use this spark checker deal. Okay, so it plugs it back in. Alright, so we're going to plug this end into our plug wire, and then we'll plug this onto our spark plug. And this little light bulb in here will light up if it gets a shot of electric juice. Alright, keep your eyeballs on that. And let's spin this engine over. The jumper wire is hooked up, so there is power to the HEI. Let's see what happens. Oh! What happened there? That battery needs a much longer charge, and I think it's having a hard time holding the charge anyhow. It really should have been put out to pasture a long time ago. Alright, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to go into the house, and I'm going to see where the small hand is, and I'm going to see where the big hand is. And if it's not tomorrow, we will boil this battery, stay out here, and finish this tonight. But if it's already tomorrow, then we're going to push this truck back in and shut her down. I'll be right back. Well, you're not going to believe this. It is 12:01 and a half. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to nurse my broken nail, and I will see you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the morning. Good morning. I've changed outfits so much during this swap meet engine swap series. I feel like Cher. I was out here a couple hours ago and got the battery charging, so that should hopefully be good to go. It's a new day, so maybe it fixed itself overnight. So let's not even take the cap off the distributor and start troubleshooting or testing anything yet. Let's just hook our battery power up, and we'll pull a bit of gas down the carburetor, and we'll try to start it. And we'll just see what it does before we start ripping things apart. Okay, let's pretend I didn't spill that everywhere. Battery cables are on, and now our jumper wire, we don't want it to be, we want a good connection, but we don't want it to be tightened down so tight in here that if for some reason in an emergency we need to shut the engine down, we want to be able to yank the wire out, because this is essentially the kill switch. Remote starter switch hooked up. And we should be in neutral. Let's see what happens. I don't think we have a good connection for a remote starter switch. I think we might need to fix the end on a remote starter switch. Why don't we just do this? Why don't I just hop in the cab and we'll just use the key. Nothing's happening. What in tarnation? Probably our ground. Ah, there we go. Just a bad connection. I just had to tighten up the positive battery cable a little bit. Okay. All right, let's see what happens. Come on, baby. I don't want to put too much gas. Down this thing. If it's not going to start, you know, we don't want to dilute the oil. All right, try again. Yeah, there's no spark. Where's our spark thing? Let's confirm it. Hey, it is lighting up. It could just be that there's not enough voltage because this wire is too small. We wouldn't run this size wire if we were gonna actually be driving the truck for real, more than just a test. But we've ran this engine on this wire before. Yeah, maybe I didn't quite charge this worn out battery enough. I'm gonna charge the battery a little bit more, but that's good news because it tells us that there most likely isn't anything going on with our distributor. So that's good. All right, we're ready to try again. And we have a much better connection too. Cleaned everything up, the wire brush. Guess I could spread out our cable here for our negative to get that on a little bit better. And you may be saying, Freeman, just go get a new battery, man, and get the proper size wire you need and do it all right now. Well, yeah, that is an option. This is just what we're doing for now. We're fully committed, so let's just try to get the job done. And then we can make things a lot nicer from that point on. Right, so hook up our remote starter switch. I'm sure the gas that we poured in moments ago is still sitting in there. We don't want to put any more than we need. So, let's see what happens. Oh, it's almost there. Maybe we should put some more gas in. There, actually, let's try choking it. See what happens. We need to put gas in. I really would have liked to see it fire off by now, but at the same time, sometimes you can't be too afraid to flood an engine. No, something is not right. Something's not right. Did it sound like it tried to fire to you? I highly doubt that that's not enough gas. But let's put some more in. All right, I just put more gas in. Let's go. Let's take the distributor cap off, because this is driving me crazy. Wonder what in the world's going on. I mean, I guess it could be low voltage, as we've talked about before. This fuel line is kind of in the way. We just gotta take a couple plug wires off, and we will just have to remember where they go. Alright. Everything looks good so far from a visual perspective. We haven't actually taken a visual at the coil. So let's do that. I'm pretty sure I know what's going on here, but let's look at the coil first. Even though it's kind of a waste of time in my eyes right now, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to look. Everything is just as clean as underneath the cap. Yeah, you know. Alright, I'm going to put this cap back on and then tell you what I'm thinking. I just over-tighten this cheap plastic junk. Oh well. Here's what I'm thinking is going on. Oh, that's great. When did we break this? Broke this. Well, that's cool. I doubt that grounds or voltage or anything has anything to do with this, because it worked in the first video, so why wouldn't it work now? I think the Chinese HEI distributor is a turd. That's what I think. I think when we started the truck in the first video, that was probably the only start left with the coil inside there. That's my guess. This battery right off the charger, it's spinning the engine over. There is juice coming out of it. HEIs, yeah, you know, they can be finicky in my experience with low voltage, but like I said, we started it before. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work now. But since we need a brand new end for a battery cable, I might as well grab a brand new battery, and I'll get the exact same one and replace this. And so we get a brand new one in, because I've said a million times I've been waiting to replace this battery. It's been kind of crapping out. So I'm going to leave you here at Freeman's garage, and I'm going to scoot out and get brand new ends for our battery cables and that brand new battery. And when I get back, we're going to try this all again. And if it still doesn't work, we're going to pull that HEI distributor out. We're going to grab our points distributor off of our old engine, and we're going to throw it in here. And then it's 100% guarantee it's going to work. Alright, 1 year warranty, supposedly. You know, it just seems like the taxes and fees for buying a battery just keep going up and up and up. Oh boy. I cannot wait for this comedy routine to be over. And I'm not supposed to talk about the weather, But the thing I'm not supposed to talk about is making things not as fun as they're supposed to be. I mean, I'm still having fun, but I'm looking forward to getting this thing out the door. We don't really need to replace our negative end, but we will, just so that, just so we're coordinated. And we're going to be red and black now, so that can help eliminate a mix-up, which shouldn't happen anyways, because in vehicles like this you can see where the cables go. But, 7/16. We won't throw that away. We're going to save that. You never know when it might come in handy. This is starting to look like we're doing a restoration here. Looking pretty snazzy. No! Good thing we don't need that one. Rin Tin Tin. Do you remember that? Rin Tin Tin. I think I was more of a Lassie kind of kid. A little more Lassie than Rin Tin Tin. And there's Flipper. I mean, come on, who doesn't want a porpoise for a friend? You can free dive way too deep beyond your limits without worry, because Flipper's gonna be there. Oh, maybe it was worth doing a new end for the ground or the negative, because this feels pretty nice. It's a real nice fit. A lot better than what we had before. Before we hook our power up for our ignition, let's just see how things go with just spinning the engine over. Okay, well, that is a lot different. Let's hook our ignition up and see what happens. Okay, let's see what happens. Whoa! There we go! You better move this stuff so it doesn't fall into the fan. We don't want that to happen again. Alright. It sounded like it wanted to fire, didn't it? Let's put some gas in it. Oh. Way too much. Alright, come on. Please start and fuel pump. Start pumping. What is going on, man? What is going on? All right, let's get this HEI out of here. We're taking the points ignition system off of our old engine. We're going to swap it in here. We needed the battery and the battery ends anyways, so that's still a positive. That is good. It was something I was putting off. The battery anyways, the terminal, didn't need that until we broke it today. But alright, so power's disconnected. Alright, now let's yank up this distributor. We better be smart here and get our number one cylinder on top dead center before we pull this distributor out. That way it'll make things a lot easier for putting the other distributor in, and we'll be right there with our timing. We'll make everything real simple, and we'll re-gap these plugs too, or we'll gap them for the points ignition. We'll get to that when we get to it. Let's hook that back up. Our battery cable's back up. There we be. This fuel line's not going to be in the way, is it? Oh no! Oh, that's what's going on here. One of the plug wires is snagged way back here. Snagged on the dipstick tube. That's funny. I thought we were going to have all kinds of big issues here, but that's all that was. Oh, it's nice to know that the distributor is not stuck down in there or anything. Now let's get all our plugs out, since we're going to be gapping them. Actually, I got a better idea. Let's pull the plugs out of the old engine because they're gapped for points already, and they're new plugs. There's hardly any miles on them. So, why didn't I think about that earlier? Alright, so we just pull this, our distributor, our coil, our plugs and wires all together as one unit. And this connects to our coil on one side, and then on the other side will be one of our wires here. So we can undo that and hook our factory wires back up. These plugs take a bigger socket, 13/16. In video 1, what year did we determine that the swap meet engine probably is? Because this socket's not fitting in here. See, it doesn't fit, right? Now let's go to our old engine. There's plenty of room for this socket to fit. The guy I bought the engine from was pretty certain it came out of a 67 and that the engine is a 67. Let's just take the plugs that were in it and I'll gap them and put them in, and let's get our points distributor in and our coil on and fire this thing up finally. We need it. I was able to get our gasket off in one piece. Nice! Guess what's happening now? This spring keeps popping out of here. It's for the remote starter switch. I'm trying to hook it up so we can tap the engine over just a little bit to pull the distributor down all the way into position. And this thing is just not playing ball. I mean, it is only 60 years old. Alright, we got our points ignition system all set up here. We got our factory wiring in play now, which we needed because it has to go to the ignition coil. And because of that, we have to put the key in the ignition and turn it. But all we gotta do is just turn the key on and we can still start it from out here. But that's how we get electricity to our ignition, is by having the key in and the lock cylinder turned. And the wiring and everything, it's not all pretty. This is just for testing. Okay, after this proves to be a good engine out on the road, we can spruce everything up. And I hope this works because I don't want to pour much more gas down into the engine. So I'm going to put the key in, and also this is going to, we're going to find out if the first stab in with the distributor, if my timing's close enough for it to run. It's always fun when you get it on the first try. Alright, key is in and on. Hopefully it's not total disaster here. Alright, let's see what happens. Eh? Okay. Okay, well, let's put some gas. Let's put some gas in it. It seems kind of strange. All right, plenty of gas, plenty of gas. Make sure it gets down there. Okay, here we go. What is going on? Nothing. Not even a try. I just checked for spark with our little plastic sparker checker bulb thingy. And there's spark. I just pulled this plug and I got the piston up at the top of the cylinder. And I'm looking at it and it's bone dry, and so is the plug. Maybe we're not putting enough gas in. That can't be right though. There's no way. There's no way it wouldn't have done something. Alright, let's give it one more good. Let's give it a good heavy dose. I don't like it, but we're gonna do it. Yeah, we're probably going to end up having to change this oil right away. Yep. Yeah, now I regret pouring all that gas down there. Alright, we are going to confirm 110 million% that we have spark going through each spark plug, okay, and into the cylinders. And we're going to do it in a way that is even more of a confidence builder than using our plastic see-through bulby thingy. We are going straight to the source, straight to the donkey's, straight to the horse's mouth. Here's our spark plug, plugged into our spark plug wire. We're going to set it right here on this cylinder head bolt. The key is on inside, and we are going to use the remote starter switch without getting our arm or our wires caught in the fan. And we are going to crank the engine over and see if we get spark. Okay, I see spark. How about you? Okay, so that's the first one. Let's do that quickly to the other 5. Yeehaw. And we're going to gap these plugs too while we have them out. We're going to set them at 35 thousandths because we're running points. I like to run 45 thousandths if we had the HEI unit in it. So let's do 35 thousandths for our points ignition system and rock and roll through these. This first one's here is pretty much at 35 thousandths, a little bit more. Close enough though, that's very, very close. We'll go with that. Spark plug number 2. Bingo. Here's our 3rd. Here's our 4th. I just went through all 6 of them and they're all good. It seems like, well, I mean, if you think about this, it's as if either the fuel is not making it, the gas we're putting in the carburetor, that when you look down the carburetor, you can see it inside the intake manifold. Either it's not making it down the runners and to the cylinders, or there's not enough air getting into the engine. And neither one of those makes any sense at the moment. How in the world would the gas not be making it in there? And the choke is wide open. I'm going to try another trick. Let's see if it works. If it works, I'll tell you what it was. I'm at a loss for sounds or words. I don't see any reason why we aren't getting air in here. We definitely are putting fuel in. Is it making it into the cylinders though? That's the thing. Now, when I look in here, and I open the throttle so that I can see in here. Underneath the carburetor, inside the intake manifold, there's all this fuel in here, sitting here sloshing around. Fuel in intake. Intake full of fuel. Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. Finkel is Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. Is our swap meet 250 cubic inch General Motors straight 6 junk? I'm just hardcore brain computilating right now. It ran in video number 2 of this series. Why am I still holding my head like this? And I swear this thing ran for a second or two sometime after we put the brand new battery in. Didn't it? You'll have to go back in the video and watch that part again. I will as well. I think it did, didn't it? What do we need for the engine to run? We need compression. Check. We need spark. Check. We need fuel. Check. We need air. Check. You know what we need to do? We need to do a little bit of disassembly, because I believe that this is still a runner. So I think we need to take the valve cover off and 100 million% visually verify that the valves are opening and closing and that the fuel is making it into the cylinders, because I've got kind of a sneaky suspicion here that the fuel's not making it into these cylinders, at least. That thing was way too loud for how slow it was moving. Slipping transmission. Let's rip the valve cover off and start tearing into all that stuff next time. I think you've already been here for an hour and a half. So let's leave on a positive note though. Just think about the wind in your hair, the rat turds blowing out through the vents in the cab right into your face. Oh, it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be worth it. We're gonna do everything we can to get this engine running. And, well, nope, positive. We're gonna get it next time. We're gonna get it. But for right now, the rest of this series, if you haven't seen it yet or you wanna watch it again, I'm gonna put that up on the screen so you got something else to watch now. Oh, this hurts the batting average. We'll get it though. We'll get it.